when you master time, you become the captain of your own life voyage. Time can be accessed like an ancient memory, and so much of our experience in embodiment can be modulated when we really learn to master the simultaneous nature of a time field. Remember how we discussed that the time-space field is the fabric, or it's like the wave of plasma in the energy grid lines that are in the oceanic ethers that connect you into everything and everywhere at once. This is quantum time, and it's created as an experience within the ocean, which is an infinite time consciousness. So time doesn't exist in the infinite time construct, but it is created as an experience. So recall that you're you as a person, but you're also you as energy, and that you are the ocean. So you, or a larger part of you, which is your fuller memory matrix, is creating all of this experience. Your perception of time in your sensory body has been linear because as your now point of infinite consciousness, the larger memory matrix is riding these time waves. It's moving across these grids of potential, which feel like a momentum that feels like past, present, and future. It's like a line of possibilities and potentials. And the fabric of space gives it the sensation of movement. The sensation of this linear time, it was meant to be part of your experience as an embodied person. Think of it like sailing across an ocean, and this is your current lifetime being recorded as a current in time within your unique memory matrix. When you're sailing, a boat navigates and there's no roads or actual lines, and so you're navigating wherever you want to go, and a boat can set itself also on autopilot and let the ocean take it on an unknown journey. When you're operating from an unconscious karmic timeline, you're largely moving forward on the unconscious autopilot in a pretty easily predictable process with a really high probability for the events that are going to occur, because it's your karmic life plan that's programmed and it's playing out. In many ways, it's highly predictable what choices as a reaction an unconscious person's going to make. So in that regard, free will is kind of an interesting concept when you can observe how that actually looks. Now you're being gifted with a deeper access to your own personal time machine as your own consciousness is opening to be more flexible in these collapsing, rigid 3D time fields. So you can move things around more. It's more pliable and less rigid as we change our dimensional reality. And that means that you can make these bigger sweeping changes and even colossal jumps to new timelines. And it's really a lot like surfing and riding waves of potential. You can even fold time when you're playing with time and jump onto a new wave. To think about what folding time means, think of a piece of paper and think of it, hold it up in front of you, and it has an edge. So one side, let the corner edge of the line of the paper would represent the past, and the middle of that edge would represent the present, and the other corner edge would represent the future of that line. And if you were to fold those two edges of the paper towards the center, you folded time, and past, present, and future converge into simultaneous time. It's just a visual for you to kind of think about how this time-space fabric looks and how you can literally play with time. And your ability to play in time also has a lot to do with your own ascension process, as your own higher self is guiding you in really specific ways to achieve the needed progression of events to free you into the alignment with your higher self's own matching frequency. So if your intention is to ascend, which as we're moving through this course, that is what we're learning, how to move that process forward. Your intention is to eventually get your frequency to match your higher self's and to embody your actual avataric higher self's essence. So you are actually your fuller memory matrix set up nodal points. A nodal point is like on a map, you see a dot of a city. That's what a nodal point, where several lines come together and meet. So these nodal points are points of activation, and they're what we call a time convergence or a synchronicity, or what we would term as a fated destiny point. Also, you could call it that. And what that means is this is where you could make life-altering choices, have catastrophic or unexpected shifts and changes occur, or you could meet critical people that come into your lifetime. And these nodes are existing just like they are in your body. The nodes that go with the meridian lines, they're exactly the same. And when those converge, it can create big destiny events on your timeline. You're being guided through a process when you choose to ascend because you've set out a message to your higher self that you're ready to release and clear your karma. And this can indeed feel a bit like endless work, but it's you taking responsibility to clean up your own time fields. But the process is really accelerating now of ascension, and the ability to take in light and move this process forward is really enhanced in this what's called an ascension portal or gateway that's happening right now for humanity. So it helps to know where you are in your ascension process so you can understand why you're appearing locked into certain experiences that won't move along as fast as you'd like them to. And there is a possibility to punch through faster and clear them up when you see what's actually happening. And you can use your alchemical light magic tools to transmute the distorted energies a lot faster and move yourself forward on your journey. Think of karma like an oil spill in the infinite ocean, and you have to go and clean it up. It's your responsibility. If you are experiencing the same cycle over and over, you're seeing the actual cyclical true nature of time, which is more of a cycle, even though it appears to be linear. That's just an experience. And you are spinning in repeat spirals because whatever that karmic lesson is, you haven't quite mastered it yet or integrated it, and so it's repeating over and over again. Time fields are actually smaller cycles within larger cycles, and there's multiple fractals of time that are playing out at any given moment. And so time is playing out in infinite possibilities, like the larger precession of the equinox cycle of 26,000 years that we've heard of in the Mayan calendar that they were tracking. These are galactic time cycles, and then we have our own smaller and smaller little loops that we'll have in our own lifetime that indicate different cycles of passage through our lifespan, or through a collective, or through a period of history. So there's many cycles within cycles. So when you ask for any experience as a manifestation, or if you're healing or you're trying to understand an unpleasant experience you're having, when you do that, your higher self's going to put you in a process because you asked to prepare you to receive what you're asking for, or to understand it, or to heal it, basically to answer your request. The gap of space that you experience as I asked but I haven't received is the preparation time of getting you ready to receive it, or to expand your consciousness to transcend the need to have that particular karmic issue in front of you. So when you expand your consciousness, you learn the lesson and it dissolves. It's like cleaning up the oil spill. And it's no longer front and center in your reality space because you've evolved beyond it, and it dissolves and it disappears. The answer to a delay or an unwanted experience could have multiple reasons of why it's taking longer than you would like. It could be that there's more karma that's owed, so the process has to take a little bit longer. It could be an alternate timeline that's interfering with the current one. It could be a soul contract lesson that hasn't been completed, or some sort of external interference that can come from like reversal entities or vows you made in other lifetimes and contracts, or other programs that are running that are distorting the way you're manifesting. It could also be a part of your divine plan unfolding. And those are just a few of the possibilities of what could be going on. So there's kind of an art form to discerning what's going on in your field, why a certain experience is coming to you. So once you kind of understand a sense of why it's there, then you can understand the correct magic to use to try to make an alchemical adjustment using your magic. And when you tune into your void space, like we've been practicing, and you ask the question, for example, what's the gap in your time space? Like, I want to manifest that. It's not here yet. That's a gap. So show me what's the gap that's blocking that manifestation. Or you could say, if it's something in your experience that you're wanting to move along because it's not so pleasant and it seems to be spinning or just lasting longer than you like, you can say, what is the causal factor of this experience? And you can see what's going on in your own process and determine what would accelerate and close the preparation gap most so that you can break free. So this really gives you a lot more power in your experience to move through and transcend certain things more quickly, rather than getting stuck in these time loops that can keep going and you just are literally going in a circle. Often the answer can be awareness, coupled with your light magic alchemy that you've learned, and that will generally get the job done. But of course there's always exceptions, but those, having the awareness of what it is and then doing your alchemy and making sure you've integrated the lesson, which is what the awareness does, is generally what will move it into a different space. So you can go into this void space in your own bubble and ask the question. So for a future manifestation, you could say, what is the gap space in my current timeline to move towards this new experience? Or if you had an unpleasant experience and you want to move along with it and clear it, you can say, what is the causal root of this experience in the time-space fabric of my entire memory matrix? Remembering that it can come from an origin point outside of your current timeline. You may or may not receive insight immediately, but stay open and start to pay attention, because over the coming days and even weeks or months, the answer may arrive in your environment as a message, but only if you're tuned in to see the subtlety of the message as it's information and it comes to you. And learning to receive and interpret these messages that will come if you're tuned into them, and all the information and clues that can be presented in your day-to-day experience can really help you move more quickly through a growth curve towards a manifestation, or to clear an old distortion, or clearing up a karmic issue. So ask and you shall receive works most effectively when you're in your void space, you're centered in your sacred heart. So then you become the center point, the 0 point of no time. And here you can access all time, right? And this is where you can time bend, which we talked about, folding time. And you can gain a really full mastery of how you move through the time field. It's a space where you really access your own inner power as a creator being, and it's your command center for your embodiment as a human being. It's a place where you're crafting your own experience. You are creating your reality, and you're aware of that, and your timeline is unfolding with the most mastery and grace possible, rather than experiencing what passes through your life in an unconscious reactive state. That would be like the ship sailing on autopilot. You can call what you want to experience to you by navigating intentionally. You're the captain of your Merkaba as the time machine vessel that it is. When you enter the void space, you're asking as a way of giving a loving co-creative command to your own memory matrix to receive information that you need. If there's a delay in something, we talked about that before, you may want to also learn why there may be a divine timing issue that needs to flow naturally from your surrendered state of trust and grace. So there may be several other points that need to align in the time field before it's ready to appear before you, and that's all being orchestrated for you in your memory matrix. And so you have to, your human self wants something to happen, but your divine self says, trust in the timing of the natural unfolding. And so there's a balance between that surrender and the actively becoming the creator that becomes like a natural back and forth, where what it can look like is you'll get inspiration to act from your divine self, and then you put that action into motion, and then you set another intention, you make another request, and then you wait for the inspiration for how to move towards that, and then you act on it when you get it. And if you can start to get into that rhythm, and that's how you're creating, you can create a really powerful dynamic progression in your life and make some pretty miraculous things happen. And in order to do this, it takes practice, and you really have to gain a certain level of mastery so you can handle what you're asking for with maturity and confidence. So that's oftentimes, as we said, the gap. If you're asking for something and it hasn't arrived, then your higher self is doing what is necessary to prepare you to receive it. So these are just some really fun ways that we can play with time and become masters of time as we become masters of our own alchemy. So happy sailing in the time-space continuum.